Well, if you love the Peter Laviolette version of the Nashville Predators, you would have loved the USA versus Canada Olympic showdown last night. We're going to talk about why that game reminded us of those old Preds games that we have come to pretty much hate. And hey, we're at the halfway point. Why not talk about awards, huh? We're going to go through the NHL midseason awards. Who's the favorite for the Hart? Who's the favorite for the Calder? Is it Jeannot? Who's the favorite for the Norris? Is it Josi? Plus, why he's not going to win it, probably, but why Juuse Saros should be the Vezina frontrunner right now. Juicy discussion coming up today on the Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day. Thank you for tuning in as always. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer and editor at ontheforecheck.com, and I have a partner in crime who, like me, probably in desperate need of a nap after staying up till 2 a.m. watching Olympic hockey.
I'm a little bit tired, but we're going to get through this. I'm Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer at ontheforecheck.com.
I got the old green tea ready to go for
come
today.
on.
So this is going to be an interesting show. Big talker around hockey this morning. USA versus Canada, the women hockey teams. It's faced off for the first time at the Olympics last night. It was a 4-2 game, even though USA pretty much dominated. Canada got the win. And when I say dominated, I mean, the puck was in the zone the entire night, pretty much after the first 10 minutes of the game.
No, it really was. United States came out. I was so impressed with how they started that first period. They came out so strong, so aggressive. The whole first period really was almost all USA hockey, and yet Canada came out with a 1-0 lead at the end of the first period. Now, tell me if that doesn't remind you of something.
Yeah. I think all Preds fans are doing that Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme right now. I think everybody can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, we've seen this before. So USA really played such a strong game all the way through, really. Canada committed a lot of penalties, which is something that they've been doing throughout this entire tournament. Canada commits penalties willy-nilly, but their kill is so good. It really has not been a huge problem for them in any of their games. I think they had, I can't even remember how many, 12 penalties, something like that. I mean, they really are, we've talked before about the Nashville Predators. When you play their style of hockey, you kind of have to balance not overplaying something and committing penalties because it'll bite you in the butt. Well, let me tell you, Canada plays with reckless abandon, and they're not real worried about it biting them in the butt. And so, but United States could not convert on all of the chances that they were given. So, Canada showed up really well. I think probably the straw that broke the camel's back came in the second period. Only 1 goal in the first period, and then we had 5 goals in the second period, but Marie-Philippe Poulin was awarded a penalty shot. And that's just you almost don't have to go through the motions. Like, you might as well just, chalk that one up. And I think that really was kind of a little deflating for USA. Like you said, they had tons of offensive zone pressure, tons of opportunities, and just couldn't finish. And like you said, it reminds us of a little something, didn't it, Nick?
Yeah, well, here's why I say that. Why that kind of reminded me of the old Peter Laviolette Predators was because USA would dominate maybe about 85% of the game, not finish their chances. And that was a big thing last night. Was USA had so many chances that just didn't bury, many close to the net. so many times that like the puck went off the post, a wide open net was missed, a rebound would fall right to a player's stick. And then, they wouldn't see it in time or the defense would get there. Let's not sell Anne Renee Debian short. I mean,
Oh
she
gosh, no.
played a phenomenal game
Yeah.
from start to finish. I mean, she was obviously on fire. But you also saw like in that little 15%, we talk about this with the Preds a lot, and that it's that little 15% where, you make a mistake and then Canada makes you pay for it.
Yes.
It all, you kind of saw maybe stuff like that kind of happening early in the first period. Maddie Rooney, that miscommunication where she just left the puck behind the net and Canada grabbed it for a quick wraparound. You saw little signs of that throughout the night, and then just little mistakes. I think it was on the third, maybe either the third or fourth Canada goal where somebody just completely lost the Canada player, being into the scoring zone. And so it's little moments like that. But I would say overall, Anne, you would have to maybe be encouraged with how the USA played overall. And I know that based on our time covering the Peter Laviolette Preds, that's faint praise. But it does seem like the USA has kind of turned a corner in terms of how they played, because we talked about that. In the first game, they won 5-2, but they didn't really look like all too sharp in the process.
Right.
And really, since about halfway through the Russia game, I think they've kind of clicked a little bit more, and now they're firing on all cylinders. It's just a shame they couldn't have buried their chances, because that was a winnable game last night.
It was, and I would completely agree with you, because I think for, earlier in this tournament, when you watched kind of Canada's first game and United States' first game, Canada came into the tournament, really well, like a well-oiled machine. It wasn't like they were warming up. They were in their stride already when this tournament started. And I think we've seen that the USA has had to kind of get into their groove through some of these games. And they've been, very fortunate that they've had the luxury of kind of finding their rhythm in these games that are still very winnable for them. But I did feel like that, Nick. I did feel like, this is not a medal game, a medal rematch that we may see, barring some sort of huge upset, which could happen. But if this comes down to a gold medal match between USA and Canada, I think the game last night really showed that this could go either way. If United States buries a couple of chances, if they take advantage on the power play a little bit better, if there's some sort of breakdown in the penalty kill for Canada, this is a whole different game. I think you saw great goaltending. You saw great offensive pressure. You saw great defense. This was a really great hockey game that could have gone either way. And I think USA is going to be very hungry to come back and have a second chance against Canada. And really another good game, I think we could expect from that.
Yeah, barring something completely off the wall, that's going to happen at some point.
Right.
Just depends on how the rest of the game shake out and how seeding you would expect the USA and Canada to be the top two. But we will have to see about that. Speaking of medals and awards and all that junk, it's the midseason for the NHL, which means it's time to start thinking about midseason awards. Who's the front runner for the Hart, the Calder, all that? Is Roman Josi and Juuse Saros, are they going to wind up with some hardware this year? We'll talk about that. But before we do, if there was an award for best beard in the NHL, Matthias Ekholm would probably have that. And if you want your beard to look as good as him, you need to hit up our friends at Primal Origin Oils. If you got beard, get Primal. If someone you know about or love, or you, because you probably love yourself, if you guys have a beard, it needs to get the Primal treatment. If you're somebody who's never considered the benefits of treating your beard with product, Primal Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. Products are free from synthetic harmful ingredients, and they all have low impact on our planet. Primal Origin Oils makes balms, oils, whipped butter. They're renowned as the best feel in beard products available. All of them are fair trade certified and handcrafted right here in the USA. If you want to try it for yourself, Try the combo kits. They're your little mixed bag of all different kinds of product. It's great for a gift if you're shopping for somebody with a beard, little stopper, or whatever you want to do with your beard. We know that every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and the feel and beard to the other products you've used. We promise you will see and feel the difference. Remember, use the code Locked On. It gets you 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Again, use code Locked On for checkout for 20% off. Well, a lot to get to this week. Hey, finally, tomorrow we get to talk about a Preds hockey game. Preds play the Stars. We have a preview coming up. And while we're on the topic of Olympics, Anne, big show coming up Friday.
Yes.
It is the Pred Olympics.
I cannot wait for this. Yeah. This is amazing.
Which Predator is going to dominate figure skating? Who's the best skier on the team? We are going to put this debate to the test. That show is coming up Friday. You guys are going to have a chance to weigh in. We'll put some info up on the Locked On Predators Twitter. So be sure you're paying attention to that. And I know you have some thoughts.
Oh, I have some thoughts. Like, just the vision I have of certain players in figure skating is delightful, and I cannot wait for our Friday show because we've got some things to share.
I can already tell you I'm going to be correct on figure skating. That was the first one I had figured out.
Oh, really? See, I'm like speed skating done. I already know who's going to win speed skating. Short track, long track, doesn't matter. I know who's going to win that one.
Yeah,
but,
what a giant slalom luge.
Oh yeah.
What about the thing where you cross country ski and then shoot a gun for some reason?
Biathlon. That's my jam. Like biathlon. Yeah. If I was going to be an Olympian, it would be that, except I can't ski and well, I do all right. I do all right shooting ski, but yes, I love biathlon.
Yeah, that's the Scandinavian blood in you right there. I feel like.
That is. It's a good Swede in me.
Yes. So that's coming up Friday. For now, though, let's talk about awards, shall we? So we're at the halfway point. We've talked about kind of the Preds midseason stuff. So we decided to broaden our horizons a little bit. We're going to be looking at the entire NHL. We're just going to do this straight up, trophies. Who do we think is our pick for the Calder right now? Who's our pick for the Vezina? All that good stuff. So Anne, would you like to start with the Jack Adams, the coach of the year?
Well, if anybody listened to our episode yesterday, they'll understand that, coach of the year is just definitely an MVP.
You mean he's not going to, John Hines isn't going to win the Hart Trophy this year?
Our podcast, our rules. But anyway, so when it comes to the Jack Adams, I really do, setting aside any sort of, you cover the Nashville Predators, you're playing favorites. I really do think that John Hines needs to be in the conversation for the Jack Adams. This is a team that has recently, he relatively new to coaching this team, his tenure started with, COVID and modified season, shortened training camps. And what he's been able to pull out of this team under more normal circumstances is, I think, nothing short of remarkable. This team has had the talent. I think this team had a lot of great talent, even in the last few years of Peter Laviolette's era. And yet just not been able to bring out and make this team produce well. And so I really am pulling for John Hines to at least be in the conversation for the Adams. And I would say go ahead and just give it to him.
Yeah, I would say in terms of individual impact, you're right. And ESPN and their midseason awards, they had him as one of the finalists. And I say with the Preds finish in the top 2 of the Central, which is looking like a strong possibility, I would say, yeah, I mean, he's definitely up there in terms of the top 3. I think he's definitely going to get nominated for sure, unless the Preds fall off a cliff. ESPN had Daryl Sutter as their leader. I really don't think that's going to happen anymore because Calgary's kind of fallen off.
Yeah.
One guy to kind of watch out for maybe is Dallas Eakins. over in Anaheim. A lot of
Yes.
people are expecting the Ducks to kind of, not be good this year, kind of still be in the rebuilding. And right now they still have a top 3 spot in their division. So I think it's one of those things where if they make the playoffs, that's a pretty good coaching job. It's such a crapshoot for the coach of the year, I feel like, because it's either which team had the best record or who is the team you thought was going to suck that is suddenly good all of a sudden.
No, I would agree with that. And I think, let's face it, Nashville fits that bill. People thought we were going to suck. I mean, everybody sort of had Nashville bottom feeders, the Central Division. And, look who's just off doing their thing under head coach John Hines, team MVP.
Yeah. I assume you and I don't care about the Lady Bing. Screw sportsmanship.
Yeah.
Selke, best defensive forward, another one that's always kind of a crapshoot. It's never like it never feels like it's actually awarded to the best defensive forward. It always seems like it's awarded to the best player in the top 20 in scoring, who happens to be kind of good at defense or or something like that.
Yeah. What about the Calder, though? Let's talk about the Calder, because this is a hot topic in Nashville for a very good reason. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Calder, Nick.
Well, I don't think Tanner Jeannot is getting in the top 3.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, okay. It's not that he doesn't deserve it. I just think this is a year in which this year's rookie class might be one of the strongest top to bottom that we've seen in years.
Yes.
And I think the fact that the top 3 right now, Trevor Zegras, Lucas Raymond, and Moritz Seider, those are like the 3 guys that are kind of the consensus top 3 at the moment across the league. I think they're just in bigger roles for their respective teams. And that's not saying that Tanner Jeannot's role isn't important in Nashville. We all know how much he does. We all know the different types of player he is. He's a very important player of the team. But, when you see Zegras in Anaheim playing on the top line for a team that was supposed to be bad and now is good, and, you see Lucas playing on the top line in Detroit, and Moritz Seider at 20 years old is their number 1 defenseman. For a team that is a lot better than I think people expected them to be this year, I think that's another thing that people are going to look at. And it's like, yeah, these guys are top line guys, in their first year, and they're helping that top line, be successful.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I also think part of it is that Tanner Jeannot is not your prototypical Calder Trophy winner. The areas where he contributes his style of play, it seems to me that Calder is a little bit more flashy top line, like you said. And that it's not necessarily Tanner Jeannot's game. That's not the strength of his game, is not flash. Substance, I think he should be in the conversation for sure, but he's just not he's not prototypical enough, I think, for the Calder, which totally stinks because look at him go. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Alexander Carrier because such a great rookie year.
Yeah, and he actually, I think it was NHL's midseason, he actually got a couple of votes in the top 5 for Calder. So a lot of people around the league are noticing him. I saw a tweet last week that said, and I can't remember who it was from. It was from like a Prez writer, or at least somebody who covers the team. He said if Tanner Jeannot was having the season he was having in either for the Kings, Maple Leafs, Penguins, Bruins, a team like that he would be top 3 for sure. I don't necessarily agree with that 100%.
Really?
I think, let me put it this way. If Tanner Jeannot was a rookie last year and was having this season last year, I think he's maybe your MVP this year. I just think this year that top 3 is just absolutely stacked.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Who would you award it to?
Who would I personally award it to? I think the
Yeah,
most valuable rookie this year is Moritz Seider in Detroit. And I know he's a little bit further down points wise, but you watch what he's doing, and he is maybe the best player on that Red Wings team already. And I think it's going to wind up going to Zegras. And I think
I
that's
do too.
because he's the flashiest guy. The average Joe's trick shot in the All-Star game probably helped, but even though he's kind of not the most dynamic scorer in the rookie race right now, the fact that he's scoring all these highlight reel goals, I think, is giving people a little bit of an extra, oh, yeah, let's vote for that guy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think just flash wise, highlight reel goal wise, I think you're going to see Trevor Zegras get it. And not to take away, because I think that he is really terrific, but I do think I can see where maybe you might be right on some other ones. So yeah, the Calder, it's gonna leave a bitter taste in the mouth this year, I feel.
Yeah, probably. No one's going to be happy.
Well, we still have to get to the Vezina, the Norris, and the Hart. So we've got plenty more to go. But first, we do need to tell you about our friends at Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. As football continues its march through the playoffs, right to the big game coming up, BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops. Of course, they have NHL. They have boxing and UFC, along with live real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, Ann, I'm going to leave this next one up to you.
Oh, no pressure.
Like a very angry pro Predators rant first?
Always.
Or do you like kind of a calm, cautious, disappointing Predators take first?
Oh, I'm tired. Let's go angry.
Let's go angry. All right, let's talk about the Vezina Trophy, shall we?
Come on, let's talk.
Here is one that Juuse Saros right now should be the Vezina frontrunner, and I'm not even sure he's going to finish in the top 3 this year in the NHL. Now, here's the reason why. If you look at the advanced stats, you watch Juuse Saros, A, the amount of games he's stolen, B, his high danger saves, which are pretty much goals he's taken off the board, and, C, just being awesome, I guess. If you break down, really nitpick the stats, watch the games, Juuse Saros by far and away is the best goalie in the NHL this season. Now,
take it home.
He may not even finish in the top 3 in the NHL. A, because I think there's still some bias about the Predators. B, because he doesn't have the sexy stats. He's not putting up 30 shutouts a year. He's not just, piling up the wins for a team that's currently in first place. So he's going to fall down the board a little bit. Now, when I looked at the ESPN, who they had right now, they had Igor Shesterkin for the New York, who is having a great year.
Sure.
You break down the stats, Juuse Saros is better than Shesterkin in almost every category except wins and shutouts. And that's what people look at for the Vezina. They look at A, where the team is, B, how many shutouts ahead, maybe your save percentage, and how many wins you've taken home this year. And the fact that he plays for the New York Rangers. We've talked about this so many times. Juuse Saros does not get the respect he deserves around the NHL. You hear pundits all the time when they talk about elite goaltenders. Igor Shesterkin is one of the guys they mention, even though he's had 2 seasons in the league. He hasn't even proven he can be a long-term viable option yet. Everybody drools over Andrei Vasilevskiy, which Andrei Vasilevskiy is a great goaltender, but at the same time, he's there because the Lightning are really good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope.
Yeah. Juuse Saros, in my mind, has been the best goaltender in the league this season. And the only reason why people aren't recognizing that around the league is because he's making 36 saves on 38 shots instead of 21 saves on 21 shots. That's it. That's the only reason.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. I think that Juuse Saros absolutely should win the Vezina, and not playing favorites, just looking at statistics. And I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it does come down to, like you said, they look at very simple columns, shutouts. And I agree with you. You look at value to the team. There's nobody more valuable to their team than Juuse Saros. Juuse Saros could poop a gold brick on the ice in the goal, and people would say it's too small. You know what I mean? Like they're just, I feel like people are just determined not to give credit to Juuse Saros for being as good as he is. And so I think somebody like Vasilevsky is going to win.
Why did
And
you
he
say
does.
that as I was taking a sip?
I didn't realize it at the time. And then when I saw it coming, I thought this could be really funny.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think Juuse Saros, the idea that he is not in the top three, and honestly, the idea that he does not receive the Vezina is offensive to my sensibilities. And I think part of it is, like you said, people just look at the columns, and I think part of it is kind of smaller market. And yeah, I'm tired of the dismissing Juuse Saros. Tired of it. I've had enough. Just give the man the Vezina.
And it's not going to be Saros.
No, it's not.
It could be Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
Because he is having a phenomenal year and pretty much single-handedly willing the Leafs to a pretty decent spot. I think it's going to be Vasilevsky.
It's going to be Vasilevsky.
Yeah, for weird reasons. Norris Trophy. Here's another one that interests Preds fans is Josi is in the mix. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Norris, Ann?
Yeah, so Roman Josi is in the mix, but he's not going to get it.
I will say the more people that seem to be on the Josi train around the league. He was third in NHL's midseason vote.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah. I just don't think he is going to be able to. I don't think he's going to be able to win it. I think Cale Makar is probably going to win it. You know, and you can't necessarily argue with that one. But I think Josi needs to definitely be a finalist. And it would be great to see him. It would be great to see him win. And look, there's plenty of season left. And the way that Josi has been playing, you know, I wouldn't count him out at midway through by any means. No. But I think right now we're looking at Cale Makar.
Here's what I was going to say. Why I was like, this is kind of a more calm, tempered, almost a little bit disappointing of a take. Even though Roman Josi right now is on pace for his best season ever, even better than his Norris year. But I would say maybe unlike Saros, the competition he's going up against, I think is a little bit more stacked against him. Makar is having a phenomenal year. Again, I think he's your front runner. Adam Fox, you know, the reigning Norris winner, also having a really good year. And right now, he's not even a lot of people's top five, but he's playing just as well, if not a little bit better than he did last year. You know, Victor Hedman, you know, again, I think a little bit Tampa Bay bias, but, you know, you look at his stats, you know, both traditionals and kind of like his on-ice analytics, and it's hard to take him out of the conversation too this year. So I think, honestly, there's maybe about 5-6 guys in the Norris race that you could legitimately say should be at least a finalist.
Yes. No, I would agree with that. I think there's a lot of depth when you're looking at something like the Norris Trophy this season. But I would like to see Josi, and like I said, there's plenty of season left for Josi to continue to make kind of a case for him to be a finalist. But let's talk about the Hart. Let's talk
All need
about the
some
big
hearts.
one. We
Yeah.
all need a heart. If only I had a heart. Yes. Who do you have winning that?
Here's who I have winning. I'm not necessarily sure they are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Florida Panthers might be the best team in hockey this season.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. They finally have all the pieces together, I think, to be more than just kind of like that, yay, fun round 1 or 2 team or kind of off edgy. They have the makings of a Stanley Cup team.
They do.
And Jonathan Huberdeau is having the year of his career. He leads the NHL in points right now, but that's, kind of just secondary to just the value he brings to that Panthers team. He has become the best player, I think, on that Florida Panthers team. And it's no surprise, no coincidence that his best season so far is the one where the Florida Panthers look most like a dangerous Stanley Cup contender.
Mm-hmm.
Other people in the mix, I would say Alex Ovechkin has a pretty good shot. Just because he's having the best, kind of overall year that he's had in a really long time. And I also wouldn't count out Nathan McKinnon either.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Hot if the Avalanche stay hot. That's going to be another trendy pick.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see McKinnon being in the mix. And like you said, Colorado right now is playing so well, despite the fact that they've lost twice to Nashville. But they are playing really well. And Alex Ovechkin, it's so funny. We were talking before we recorded. I'm like, he's so good that his good feels average.
Yeah.
Like he's just so good. He's so consistently good. So I can definitely see Ovechkin winning the Hart Trophy this year.
Is there maybe an under the radar pick that you would have, maybe that you don't think would win, but maybe somebody that you think deserves to be in the conversation?
This is just not going to win it. I don't think he's going to win it just because his team is not doing great. But honestly, there's a part of me that always goes back to Connor McDavid because he's just, he literally carries that team on his back and he's so good. Do I think he's going to win it? No. Because the Oilers just can't seem to get their horses all pulling in the same direction. But, he's one I always come back to. He's always in the mix. What about you, Nick? Who's your sleeper Hart pick?
My sleeper Hart pick, again, somebody that I don't think is going to win it, but how about Carl Kaprizov in Minnesota?
Yes.
His last 2 years, I don't think it's any coincidence that the Wild are suddenly a pretty good team with him in the mix. Wasn't that always like the conversation that people had about going for a rebuild is we don't want to end up like the Minnesota Wild? Well, look, they get one really good piece and then suddenly the Wild are contenders again without really changing much of anything else in their lineup. So, yeah, I would say Kaprizov. If Minnesota keeps doing well, he's a sleeper.
Yep. No, that is actually a great sleeper pick. Again, I agree with you. Probably not going to get it, but that is somebody who should be in the mix for sure. That's a great call on that one. Kudos on that call.
All right, one more thing. Josi or Saros? Who do you think would have a better case of being in the Hart conversation?
Oh, no, not this again. Apparently I'm not allowed to say John Hines.
John Hines is not going to win the NHL's most valuable player. Let's just put that out in the universe right now.
Okay. I can see where you would be accurate on that. Golly, I would have to go with Saros.
I would agree.
I would have to go Saros.
I think so too, just on value.
Yeah. Just for carrying the team, I would go Saros.
Yeah. So we want to know what you guys think. Let us know at LO_Predators, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Let us know who you think should win some of these awards and what you think of some of the Preds' chances. Jeannot for Calder, Josi for Norris, Saros for the Vezina. Let us know your takes on that. Tomorrow, Preds play the Dallas Stars. We actually have a Predators hockey game to talk about.
Hallelujah.
God. The plan is to talk to Dane Lewis over at our friends at Locked On Stars. We'll have a crossover for you, hopefully. But if not, we'll have a fun preview either way. It feels good to be talking about actual Preds hockey again. Until then, Ann, where can the fine people find you?
You can find my work at ontheforecheck.com, and you can find me on Twitter at AnnK_Mama on Ice.
And you can find me on Twitter at _NSMorgan. Read my work at ontheforecheck.com. And as always, be sure to follow the podcast at LO_Predators. Free to download, free to listen. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube too if you're watching there. Send us a comment or something like that. Make us happy. That's going to do it for us today at the Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with some Preds Stars preview.